Everybody say love. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Everybody say cling to what is good. Because you know what? We can always go to the evil side. Isn't that right? The sniper did not cling to what was good. And then it says, be devoted to one another in love. Let me just say this. Black people, be devoted to white people. White people, be devoted to black people. And you know what? As it relates to the police, let's help them. Let's be devoted to them. Let's be devoted to them. So, some people out there are like, man, please. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourself. Oh, isn't that hard? Because we love some ourselves. We love ourselves. Rejoice with those who rejoice. And check this out. This is what I'm saying. Mourn with those who mourn. It's a time to mourn. It's a time to mourn. And then it says, live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. In other words, people who are hurting, people who need help. Be willing to get on that level. Do not be conceited. Do not repay evil for evil. Let me say it again. Do not repay evil for evil. Let me say it again. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. So, and this is why you don't have to do it. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Let me say it again. If it is possible, as far as depends on you, live at what? Peace. Peace with everyone. Let me just, if I could stop right there. What if there was a world like that? Oh, the Bible is written by man. Well, whoever wrote that joint right there, he did a good job. Whoever that was. Thank you. All right, where we at? Next verse, 18. Do not take revenge, my dear friends. I have to tell myself this and people this all the time. Because when somebody just, look, can I put my stuff out there? Something has been, it's just messed up, man. I know what happened. I don't have time to explain it to you. But when something happens to me that's really bad, sometimes I just want to get back. I'll be on some get back. And especially when it happens to my family. And it takes something to allow God to come in a way that supersedes our own compulsion to want to repay, to do evil for evil. And so, do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. Oh, hold on. Let me just say this again. Do not take revenge. Everybody say this with me. Do not take revenge. When you need to forgive somebody and you're holding unforgiveness, that's taking revenge. Let me say it. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. The reason that you don't have to do evil to anyone, because God will deal with that person. And here's what I know. I've seen this happen over. Having lived 55 years, God honors his promise. See, for younger people, this is why we don't mind in the community blowing each other up, because we think that we have to do it. See, what you sow, you reap. If you do evil to somebody, it's a promise. It will come back to you. No doubt about it. That's going to happen. And so, by the way, when we try to take revenge, then what we've done is push God away, push his hand away. And I would much rather allow God to do what he needs to do on my behalf versus me having revenge myself. 20th verse. On the contrary, so this is the big boy stuff. On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. You know what this is saying? Put on your big boy pants. Be the bigger man. Be the bigger woman. Be the bigger man. You know what? Somebody hurts you. Work the want to do something good for them. I've seen this happen too many times. I'm not going to give a story just because I got to cut this short. But I've seen where I can't do it up. Where people have treated me a certain way, talk behind my back, and I still get a love. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, the same people who were against me now are for me. You know, I wasn't even planning that. If your enemy is hungry, feed him. Every time. Metaphorically, take care of him. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. And the reason why is because hope heals. Amen. Hope heals. Hope heals every time. Now, that sounds good, but we got to identify what hope is. Because, I mean, if I ask everybody hope heals, everybody's going to have their own opinion of what hope is. I'm going to go to a verse right here and describe what hope is. We're going to get right to it. Colossians 1:27 says, to them God has chosen to make known among the Gentiles, or us, the glorious riches of his mystery. In other words, God is trying to reveal himself to you. And he does it on the inward. And sometimes it doesn't make sense up here, but it makes sense right in here. He's revealing a mystery. And here's the mystery, which is Christ in you, the what? Christ in you, the what? Christ in me, which is the hope. The reason I can make it through life, even when it's challenging, is because of hope. The reason I can make it even when stuff is going crazy in the world is because of hope. This assurance. This something on the inside that things will get better. Jesus Christ is the hope of glory. And here's what I want to tell you. Hope heals. Jesus does bring healing. But Jesus only brings healing. And this is where the message kind of gets to we're about to close, but it gets to the hot part. It only works if Jesus is the center of your life. Now, as I was sitting in the audience at this one thing, and there were like all these solutions, and I sat back and I started writing in my book, and the Councilman Willie Bailey came up to me and he said, "You taking notes?" And I said, "Nah, bro, I just got an idea." It just hit me so strong. And I started writing. I said, the problem is there's a lack of hope, but the hope hasn't been attached to something you can really hope in. The hope is Jesus. I'm going to tell you without a shadow of a doubt, and I'm going to reveal this to show you whether I know I have a bias here, because this worked for me. My life was jacked up until Jesus became the center. Because before, I was the center of everything. It was all about me. I'm going to get mine. And you know what? I paid for getting mine. And something happened. Go to the next slide. At the center, if God is at the center, it has the potential to change everything. When God is at the center, the family operates better. I can't tell you the dysfunction that I've experienced in my own life when I was at the center. In our family, the family I grew up, which is my mom and dad, great mom, great dad, love my mom. She's here right now. Love my mom. I always love my mom. She's my favorite girl. I'm sorry, man. I love that. I love that woman. But we struggled early on. Why? Because God wasn't at the center. And so when God's at the center, everything around it starts working out. Family. My sister gave her life to the Lord. She started changing. She didn't change her life. God started changing stuff on the inside. I know that's a mystery. It's hard to understand. See, we think that we come to God and we change our own life. No. Oh, man, I don't have time to teach that right now. You take your academics, education even more serious. Everything starts revolving around God's purpose in your life. Socially, your social integration becomes better. It should become better. See, we can stand in isolations and on this side of the fence, on that. But what happens is when God is the center, he reconciles because he's been giving us the gift of reconciliation. I know I'm preaching up in here right now. Oh, yeah, I know I am. There's no way that God can be at the center of your life and you stand in your own ghetto, whether you're white, black, no matter what the city. There's no way you can do that. There's no way you can do that. You cannot do that. It's absolutely impossible if God is the center of your life that you only hang with your people. You only associate with your people. Who's your people? Once God is the center, everyone who's in God is your people. This is real. And then your career. Because God gives you a vision, he gives you a heart, he gives you a passion, he gives you a plan. In your career, things in your career. I wanted to be a musician. That was my goal. I still play on the side, still do a little something. But I think that because of God being on the center, something changed for me. I'm doing something a little different.
You be preaching now.
You know what else? When God is in the center, your community changes. When God is in the center, your ability to affect people changes. Not when you're at the center. Now, I'm not saying that people who don't have God in their lives can't do great things and be part. It's just not true. But what I'm saying, all things being equal, you have, now this is me. Maybe this is only me, Lamont, I don't know. But I'm just saying, apart from God, I have nothing. I don't have anything. I just don't have a backup plan. I'm not good enough to make it happen. Apart from God, 2 little boys would not be in my house, 3 years old, peeing on the floor. Man, I thought you was potty trained, boy. Messing up my house, jumping all over me. Just crazy, loud all the time. That's why I'm loud today, because of them. I think they messed up my ears, man. I'm trying to tell you, when God is at the center, and that's not a pat on the back. That's an actual indictment on me as in my humanity, because I don't bring enough to the table. But when God is at the center, it changes everything on the peripheral. Everything is changed. Hope. Hope heals, man. Jesus is able to heal. And then lastly, legacy. Let me ask you, and I know I'm speaking to some people in here because I know some of these people. What is it that you want to leave? What is it that you want to pass on? What is it that you want to hand down to the next generation or even amongst your friends? It starts with your center, your core. I want to ask you today, what's at your core? Are you at the core, or is God at the core? Because hope heals.